Hi everybody, this is my weekly vegetarian review. Every week I will try to review one, possibly two vegan products that I will review on a 5-point scale, and that is taste, texture, cooking and or use, allergens, and price. This week's product, it's a little bit surprising. It's a new product from Morningstar Farms. It is their Veggie Meal Starters Veggie Pulled Pork. Now, I say surprising because not everything by Morningstar Farms is actually vegan. The burgers that they make, they're veggie burgers, not the grillers. Now, the grillers and the grillers prime, and they also make some vegan ones. Excuse me. They make several things that are meant to actually look and taste like hamburgers. I will possibly review some of those in the future just to, clarify things. But the ones that they make that are served at Burger King actually do have egg whites in them, and many of their products do. I don't know if they source their eggs from, places where they try to do cage-free, cruelty-free, vegetarian-fed, and all that kind of stuff. That would be great if they did, to a point, but in that I'm, trying to lean in toward the vegan. I'm trying to look at products that are vegan, and as far as the rating, that's what I'm looking at. For instance, the corn products, the Q, starts with a Q corn. They are mostly microprotein, which is mushrooms, and that would be great. But then, like about 5% or so of the protein that they use is egg whites. I don't really know why they do that, and people have asked them, about the sourcing of their product, and they have specifically answered people, no, we don't get our stuff from cage-free, cruelty-free, organic, etc. In other words, the egg whites that end up being used in these corn products that are supposed to be suitable for vegetarians, the eggs themselves are not sourced from cruelty-free sources. So there you go. But anyway, back to the Morningstar Farms products. Now, it is in the Kellogg's family of things. They do a lot of cereals, and most cereals are actually vegan. There are a few that aren't. But in this case, the Morningstar Farms pulled pork, and it basically does look like what you're seeing there on the front of the bag when you pour it out and thaw it out. I looked at the ingredients to see, what exactly is it. And really, if you've ever bought in TVP, texturized vegetable protein, which is basically a soy protein isolate that's spun and done in a certain way so that it resembles either granules or strips or whatever, that's basically what this is, only they have flavored it in such a way that it tastes sort of vaguely like pork. It doesn't have a really strong porky flavor, but it would be most like, from what I recall, remember I have not actually had pork in, since sometime in 1989, I guess. Or no, take that back, 1988. It's been so long. Wait a minute, might even be 1987. It's been so long I've forgotten how long it's been. So I may not have had actual pork in almost 30 years. But I have been around people eating pork in restaurants. My husband would have eaten it. So, my dad used to make pork fried rice, and he would make that out of pork chops. That is what this reminds me of, the flavor of, is like a pork chop. Now, the way I prepared it for myself this evening, I made basically like a pulled pork barbecue sandwich. I mixed it with some 3-pepper and onion blend, and I cooked it in olive oil. And I did it until it looked like it had a little bit of color to it, but that actually may have been a little too far. I already ate one sandwich, eating it on some whole grain bread from Kroger, their private selection multigrain. And the barbecue sauce that I used is a Kraft Thick and Smoky. That's actually not the kind that I would prefer, but it's just, I happen to have it. I'm going to end up using it up, so it's not bad. Anyway, so rating this on taste. If it was going to be used, I tried some of it before I mixed any of the barbecue sauce with it, and with the look of it, the taste of it, the texture of it, and all that, it looks like it would probably go really well in an egg foo young style thing. So if somebody is a lacto-ovo vegetarian, you're still eating eggs, and you go to make like an egg foo young, it would go good with that. It would go good as a teriyaki pork kind of thing. Basically anything that you would use a pork chop type pork product in, this would be a good replacement for it. The flavor that it has is a little too subtle, actually. I ate some of it frozen out of the bag, and actually then as I would breathe out through my nose, I could then smell it, get the aroma of it that way. And that was pretty good. Then, like I said, I cooked it with the 3-peppered onion blend and combined it with the barbecue sauce, and now it's kind of hard to, and with regular pork it was that way too. If you put a little, different stuff with it, you're kind of covering up the flavor of it. So it could be a little bit stronger in flavor. So the first set of stars, it's out of 5 stars. I will give it a 4.5, actually, because it is really quite tasty. It to be 5-star, it would just need to be just a teeny tiny bit more strong of flavor. Now the flavorings that they put in it, basically they use like a mirepoix type thing. There's onion juice and carrot juice and some celery juice and dried onion, and as well as a little bit of garlic and natural flavor from vegetable sources. It's like I said, it's texturized vegetable protein, TVP, but with a little bit of flavoring, and and it's, instead of being dried, you could go buy it dry and add some mirepoix to it and maybe a little bit of smoked paprika and probably come damn close to this yourself. But this is something where it's easy to find, it's easy to use. So, it has all that going for it. So 4.5 stars for taste. Texture. Again, I feel like I maybe went a little too far with it in terms of when I was just trying to get a little bit of color on it. It's a little bit chewier than what I expected it to be. So that, this is the first time I've used it. That could just be a cooking error on my part. If it was cooked a little bit more gently, maybe just it had been microwaved instead of me frying it, then it probably would have been perfectly fine. What I was worried about is sometimes with vegetable proteins, when you cook them, they'll be not quite chewy enough. It's like you'll go to bite through it, and it's almost like biting through like a really firm cheese rather than biting into something that's meat-like. Well, they've got the meat-like down, so you don't have to worry about undercooking it. Just overcooking it could be a thing. So texture, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 5, and just call it my own cooking error. Now, in terms of allergens, or no, wait, I take that back. And now to use. I already mentioned a few things for usefulness. So I guess I don't really need to go back over that. I mentioned the Oriental stuff. It could probably be used for taco meat, pulled pork sandwiches, barbecue, etc., etc. So the usefulness of it, you might even be able to put a little bit of something to hold it together and make it as into something more like a croquette, or what have you, I think it would be very useful. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 5 on usefulness as well. Then now, to allergens, it's, like I say, it does have soy and then wheat gluten. So if you have an issue with wheat, then this is not for you. So my sister who has celiac, sorry, you won't be able to eat this veggie pulled pork. The main ingredients are water, soy protein isolate, wheat gluten, and corn oil. So if you have any problems with soy or wheat, then this would not be for you. It has some tapioca starch. As I say, the onion, carrot, celery, most people won't have any problems with those. It has dried yeast and tomato powder, and it just says some spices, who knows what that is. And molasses is the very last ingredient, probably to give it a little bit of the smoky, sweet flavor that you would expect from a sweetened, cured pork product. So, for the most part, there are no allergen issues with it. There are no nut proteins, and obviously there's no fish or anything like that because it's vegan. But because it does have the wheat, I'm going to give it only 4 stars on allergens, simply because it's so hard sometimes to try to find a product that will go with different people's dietary things. So, you're trying to serve people who are used to eating meat, something that will satisfy them and make them happy. Oh, my husband would have loved this. He would have loved it. But then, you also have people who are at different stages of vegetarian or vegan, and then you have people with dietary issues like my sister with celiac. It's hard to find something that can, satisfy everybody. A really properly cooked tofu could probably take the place of this and do just as well and cover all those bases. The only thing is with tofu, that's one of those things where when you cook it, if you don't cook it long enough, it will be more like biting into a cheese rather than a meat. So you kind of have to cook the hell out of tofu. And that's after you freeze it, thaw it, squeeze all the juice out of it and all that to try to make it more and more meaty. But anyway, and then now in terms of price, the typical price for this, without being on sale or coupons, is $3.99. So it's $4. $3.99 at Kroger here in Knoxville. Usually with this, if you buy it with any regularity and you're part of the Kroger, you've got your Kroger card or whatever, so they're sending you personalized coupons based on what you buy, then I will usually have coupons for it. In this case, there was a rebate, $1 rebate for if I bought 3, get $1 back. And it was a good enough, an interesting enough product where I felt like, even paying $3.66, $3.65 or whatever for a bag would actually be worth it. Because for me, now it's a 10-ounce bag. It does not cook down when you cook it like regular meat, so it's more like a pound of whatever. A third of a bag, about 3 1/3 ounces, would be about 2 servings. So that's about what I fixed for myself. Made 2 sandwiches out of it. This is going to give me 6 total servings. So if you go by that, then it's a pretty good value. For these 2 sandwiches, that means that I basically paid $1 for the meat that was in them, maybe a little bit more than that. And then the veggies were $1 for the bag, and I only used probably maybe 1/5 of the bag. So maybe 20 cents more for that. And then, with the slices, the bread's probably the most expensive thing, and I even had a coupon for that. So, price-wise, compared to many other products that are specifically vegan, now see, that's the thing. When you buy things that are specifically vegan, a lot of times the price is high, and it's either because they're made by a small company that doesn't tend to, they don't sell a great volume of something, or maybe they're regional, so they only sell it typically around where they're at. In this case, this is a nationwide product. You can find it anywhere. So the price point, I think, is pretty good. I will give it a 5 on that. So it's got 4.5 for taste, 5 for texture, 5 for cooking, 4 for allergen, and 5 for price. It only lost 1.5 stars. So that's 23.5 stars out of 25, if you want to make that a percentage. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be 94% out of 100. So this would qualify as a product that would be an A in terms of a letter grade, and I would say, if you are hungry, Morningstar Farms Veggie Pulled Pork, get you some. Till next week, have a good one.